Georgia Carver-Smith is here. Georgia.
Thanks very much, Mark. This is African News. And UN peacekeepers launch the first drones into the skies of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. They're to patrol the volatile region and monitor the movements of the remaining armed groups operating there. Also, France 24 speaks to the daughter of jailed Libyan former intelligence chief Abdullah al-Senussi. Ahmed al-Senussi fears her father won't get a fair trial if he faces Libyan judges. And France guards against piracy in Somali waters. It's agreed to allow its shipping companies to use armed sentries as a precaution against hijackings. First, though, the volatile Congolese borders along Rwanda and Uganda are for the first time now being patrolled by surveillance drones. The aircraft were deployed by UN peacekeepers on Tuesday and are on the lookout for armed groups still operating in the east of Democratic Republic of Congo.
This is the UN's new surveillance tool in the troubled Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Peacekeeping forces are to deploy automated drones for the first time to monitor the volatile borders with Uganda and Rwanda, where armed threats remain.
These drones are tasked with monitoring the sensitive region of the Kivu provinces, where there are problems with armed groups.
UN peacekeepers have long been criticised for doing too little to stop the violence in Kivu province, where war has raged constantly for almost 2 decades. The drones are now intended to go to the parts that troops can't reach.
There are armed groups that don't have uniforms and are active within the population. I think that these drones will make an important contribution on this matter.
The deployment comes after DRC troops defeated the M23 rebels, which Rwanda and Uganda have both been accused of arming and supporting. Both countries deny that. The drones will now keep an eye on any lingering rebel groups in the east.
Well, today, Ivory Coast has denied allegations made by Ghana that the Ivorian government sent in hit squads to target exiled supporters of former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo. Now, thousands of Ivorians fled into Ghana during a civil war sparked in 2010 by Gbagbo's refusal to accept electoral defeat by current leader Alassane Ouattara. Gbagbo is currently awaiting trial in The Hague, but several of his top aides and officials are amongst those living in Ghana today. Authorities there claim to have foiled at least 2 kidnap or assassination missions this year alone. The accusations were revealed in a UN report this week. Our Katerina Vitozzi is in Ghana. She tells us more about the report.
If you read the report, Georgia, it reads a little something like a spy movie, really. Let me just put that report into context. It was written by UN experts who are in Ghana as part of a wider investigation into Liberian and Ivorian militia groups. Now, these were comments made by the Ghanaian government to those experts in which they claimed that the Ivorian government, as you say, sent agents in order to come into Ghana to assassinate and kidnap those former ministers who were fled the Ivory Coast during and after the ouster of former President Laurent Gbagbo. Now, the National Security Council, they also confirmed to these experts that they uncovered 2 specific cases of these assassination and abduction attempts in early January this year. However, the UN experts themselves said in this report they couldn't independently verify these comments made by the Ghanaian government, although they did, while they were in Accra, meet with some of these former Ivorian ministers who said they were willing to go back to Ivory Coast, but they were simply too scared to do so. They said they spoke to one, the former budget minister, Justin Kanete, who says that back in August 2012, agents sent by the Ivorian government came into Ghana, tried to bundle him onto a plane back to the Ivory Coast. And it was only through the intervention of his lawyer that he did not get on that plane and get taken back to the Ivory Coast. But again, I should stress that these are all unconfirmed reports that the UN experts themselves couldn't verify.
So some pretty dramatic claims there by Ghana. Ivory Coast says that there's nothing to them. Is this likely to affect its relationship with Accra?
Well, it's certainly not going to make it any easier, Georgia. Today, the Ghanaian Foreign Minister Hannah Tete said that relationships were just fine. But we need to remember, these were accusations made by the National Security Council. These are the very top intelligence and government ministers in Ghana. So there's clearly some accusations coming from some very senior-ranking politicians here in Ghana. From the Ivorian side, well, this is just going to be another further frustration that they have with Ghana. They say that Ghana's not been expedient enough in helping them to extradite these former ministers who are wanted for a variety of crimes that they say were committed during the administration and after the ouster of former President Laurent Gbagbo.
Katerina Ritozzi there for us in Ghana. And Al-Senussi is a 22-year-old law student living in Cairo. Her father, Abdullah al-Senussi, was an intelligence chief under the Gaddafi regime and is now imprisoned in Libya on trial for the death of protesters back in 2011. His lawyers fear he can't get a fair trial in his homeland, and his daughter shares their concerns. Our Nicolas Chemin went to meet her.
It has been an eventful year for Anoud. She spent 10 months in prison for illegally entering Libya. We met her in Paris in the offices of her father's lawyer. She's the daughter of Abdullah al-Senussi, one of the most hated men in Libya. Now in jail, he was Gaddafi's brother-in-law and intelligence chief. Last month, the ICC said he could be tried in Libya for alleged war crimes during the 2011 uprising against Gaddafi. His daughter Anoud argues he can't have a fair trial in his country.
The government, they cannot do anything. The government, it's very, very weak. The militia do everything in Libya, and also the militia want my father died. And if my father go to ICC, he will have like more fair court.
In Paris, Anoud met a member of French President François Hollande's office and asked him to help her persuade the ICC to try her father.
I don't want my father to go free, but I want him to have like a fair court, like with the lawyers. We can visit him with a good medical, like Red Cross can visit him.
Before the 2011 uprising, Senussi had already been accused of other human rights abuses, especially the massacre in 1996 of more than 1,000 inmates at the Abu Salim prison in Tripoli. He was also convicted in absentia by France for his role in the bombing of a French passenger plane in 1989. It blew up over Niger, killing 170 people. Analysts also believe he could help establish the full facts about the 1988 Lockerbie plane bombing, in which 270 people died.
Quick look at some news in brief now. Results from Mauritania's parliamentary elections last month have handed a sweeping victory to the ruling UPR party. Far behind it, in second place, came the Islamist party Tawassul, which took part in polls for the first time. It's claimed the vote was marred by fraud. Most other opposition parties had decided to boycott the election. A runoff vote has been postponed for 2 weeks to allow appeals against the first round results. Today's been dubbed a Black Tuesday for the Poor by South African Union Federation COSATU. It and many of Johannesburg's motorists are furious over the launch of a new system of electric highway tolls that's been rolled out around the city. The move risks weakening the ruling ANC ahead of next year's election. COSATU is a big source of votes for President Zuma's party, but has warned that the ANC will regret its decision to go ahead with the e-toll. For the first time in 22 years, motorists in Mogadishu are enjoying the convenience of a petrol station. Most of the country's infrastructure was destroyed or damaged after civil war began in 1991. Since then, drivers in the Somali capital have had to buy petrol from jerry cans sold by roadside vendors. Quality is certainly not assured. Now, though, the only concern is about prices at the pump. The new station even offers a car wash service. France has now joined the ranks of European countries who've authorised their shipping companies to use on-board armed guards when in seas stalked by Somali pirates. Britain, Spain, Denmark all already allow the measure on their ships moving through the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean. But till now, French vessels have had to rely on an escort by the French Navy.
4 years ago, the Belgian ship Pompey was captured by Somali pirates and its crew held hostage for 2 months. Many countries have struggled to fight piracy. Since 2008, France has provided naval protection for its vessels, but now, for the first time ever, it's authorized ships to seek outside help.
We will allow the use of private teams who can complement missions being accomplished by the National Navy.
The Prime Minister added that the move will let French vessels compete better on the market. Denmark, Spain and the UK already allowed their ships to use armed guards. France's navy has been active off the coast of Somalia since 2008. Along with other fleets, it's helped greatly reduce piracy in the region, but it's far from being eradicated. France's decision will not only help better protect its vessels, but have security in the area if other assets such as oil rigs come under threat.
That's it from African News, but I will be back with more tomorrow, Mark.
Looking forward to that, Georgia. Thank you very much indeed. Georgia Carver-Smith with African News. We take a short break now. After that, we're back with another World News update. Plus, in sport, we have all the very latest. Dan Levy joining us for that. And these pictures will be explained. Stay with us.